Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's video is a super quick and easy faux potted plant using all Dollar Tree materials. So if you've been on the channel long enough, you know that I love to reuse everything, and I mean everything. I am not wasteful at all, and I've noticed that Dollar Tree has really been improving on their greenery. So today I wanted to show you how I made 2 potted plants using some of my Dollar Tree greenery, and I think they look so cute. I really hope that you enjoy this video and stick around by subscribing to this channel. Once you hit that subscribe button, we instantly become best friends.
Did we just become best friends? Yep!
And please hit that notification bell so you know every time I post a video. Let's go ahead and get started. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be using these terracotta pots from Dollar Tree. These come 2 to a pack, and if you want them smaller, they come 3 to a pack. So I'm going to paint one using licorice, which I bought at Walmart, and another one using this white, which is from Crayola, and I purchased at Dollar Tree. I have my pot sitting on parchment paper, but you can use newspaper or whatever you have to protect your surface. And now I'm going to paint the whole thing. You don't have to paint yours, you can keep them as is, or you can dry brush some white on there to make them look a little farmhouse. You can do whatever you want. I just wanted to show the process on what I did because I knew I was going to get a lot of questions on what I used. So as I'm painting, I'm making sure that I'm covering the inside in case my plant sits a little low, and you're going to see later on what I use to make the actual plant. So now I'm going to let them dry completely, and I do know that I used washable paint, but that's okay because I'm going to cover this up. To add the cute design, I picked up this tissue paper from Dollar Tree. I think it's so cute, but you can also do the same design using different colored Sharpies and metallic pens. And I'm also going to use this tissue paper, which I used for my pumpkin DIY. This I did purchase at Michael's, but I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite patterns. So I'm going to cut out a small piece, and I'm going to work in small sections. So I'm not necessarily going to cut and cover the entire piece all at once because it is going to be prone to wrinkles. For a surface like this that isn't even, what you want to do is choose a pattern that doesn't have to line up perfectly. So you don't want to do anything like stripes or any writing. You want to do something that you can pick up where you left off and it doesn't look uneven. So that's why I chose the floral pattern, and the dots, it doesn't really matter where they sit. I added some Mod Podge to the pot, to the areas where I'm going to cover, and then I pressed my tissue paper up top first, making sure that I push out all of the air bubbles, and then I did the little indentation and worked my way to the bottom, trying to squeeze out all of those little wrinkles. And you are going to end up with wrinkles. It's inevitable. I've used a squeegee with this, and you still end up with wrinkles, but it's quite all right. Up top, I ended up using some scissors and making little slits before pushing it down and continuing to work my way around. And if you need to add more Mod Podge, go ahead and do that. For the bottom, I did the exact same thing, only I cut it down so it didn't create a lot of bulk. And when I was done, I added some to the other side, doing the exact same thing, and then covered everything with Mod Podge so that if I do choose to use this with a real plant, it won't get damaged. So for the second one, I will tell you this, the tissue paper was less prone to wrinkles, and I honestly think it's because it's thicker. I didn't really realize that the Dollar Tree tissue paper was a lot thinner, but working with thicker paper definitely helped, and you'll see here, even though I do still have wrinkles, it's easier to work with. I can handle it a little rougher to get the wrinkles out with no issues. And instead of using strips, you can do what I did with my pumpkins, which is just cut the flowers out and paste the flowers in. But I was really curious to see if the quality of this one was a little better. And honestly, it was. I love my Dollar Tree stuff, but sometimes the quality of other things is just a little bit better. So this is why I say it's important to paint the bottom. I did rip a little bit of the paper, but once it dries, you won't be able to see it because since it's painted the exact same color, it really won't matter. Just make sure that you remove the piece so it's not protruding. I let both of them dry really well, and when it was finally dry, it's time to work on the plant itself. And I'm going to do two different methods for this. So for this first one, I'm going to use this foam from Dollar Tree. I think it will look the most realistic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my pot upside down and trace that line to try and get it to fit. So I'm going to do the top part first and then the bottom. With a knife, I carefully carved out all of the little extra pieces up top just to make sure that it fits a little bit better. And then I flipped it over and traced the bottom half. And this I'm going to trim at an angle since our pot is at an angle. Always trim away from you. It's really hard when you have a camera in front of you, but remember guys, be very, very careful. So now I'm going to try and fit it in. I do need to do a little bit more trimming. Once it fits, I think it looks really good. So this one we're going to make to look like soil. The other one, I'm going to use this foam from Dollar Tree. This is meant for real flowers, and because of that, it is nice and soft. So I'm just going to grab my pot and push it in. We're not going to need much foam for what we're doing. So once I pushed some in, I'm not going to put too much force. I'm just going to grab my knife and carve the top off. This one doesn't have to be perfect because this one we are going to be covering up. This floral foam is so soft that you can even take your finger and buff out some pieces, and this one is nice and thick, so to get a dirt consistency would be perfect. As you can see, this one is super smooth, so if you like this finish, you can do that as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some gray looking paint, and I'm going to use the two colors I used previously, and I am just going to dab that on top of my foam. As you can see here, some of the green peeking through actually looks really good. It gives it some dimension, but you can cover the whole thing if you want. So I'm going to set this aside to dry and work on my next one. For the next one, what I'm going to do is what most faux plants come with, which is just adding some greenery, some moss to the bottom. So I got some Dollar Tree Floral Moss, and I'm just going to hot glue it to the edges, not to the middle, because if I do it to the middle, it's going to be really hard to stick my greenery pieces in. To make it look a little neater, I grabbed my scissors and I ended up cutting it down just a little bit. And now that both of our plants are ready, it's time to work on the greenery itself. The greenery that I absolutely fell in love with actually came from these bouquets from Dollar Tree. They are so popular right now, and I just used them in a craft and fell in love. These reminded me of the little plants from Target. So what I did was I took my side cutters and I removed the beautiful pink part, and then I cut enough of a stem to be able to place it into my little plant. So before I did that, I did cut down the stem from the top just a little bit, and I added a bit of hot glue because I didn't want it to rip off. For one plant, I ended up using two of these bouquets, and you'll see how I did it. I don't just use these stems, I do end up cutting some of them off a little bit, and you'll see in just a bit. I started out with the stems just to give it a shape, and I started at the edges and started putting them in at an angle. You might want to do it the other way around. You might want to start in the middle. It's completely up to you, but remember you still can play with all of the placement and move things around because there is wire in this. So the bottom was looking a little bit bare to me, so I didn't want to use a third bouquet. So what I did was I cut some of the greenery pieces into 3 pieces, and then I hot glued that into the middle to make it look a little bit fuller without having to reach for a third bouquet. And as you can see here, just adding those little pieces to the bottom is already making it look so much fuller. For For the one with the moss, I ended up doing the exact same thing, but because it has the moss at the bottom, it instantly looks a little bit on the fuller side. It of course doesn't look as realistic, but let's be real, these don't look like real plants. They look like the ones they sell at Target, which I still think is adorable. And when you're done, bam, you have these super cute and affordable plants made from your leftover stuff from Dollar Tree. So if you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and as usual, thank you so much for watching. See you on the next video. Till next time.